Welcome back to my Week 1 NFL previews. We just previewed the first game of the NFL season, which will be on Thursday night between the Packers and the Seahawks. Now we move to the Sunday slate of games, and the first one we take a look at here pits the rival Atlanta Falcons versus the New Orleans Saints. So right off the bat, a big NFC South matchup here, and this game will be at the Georgia Dome. The Falcons, look, the season went sideways on them very quickly last year on the heels of some significant injuries. They have the likes of Roddy White and Julio Jones back in the fold from a receiving standpoint. But now you take a look at a big emphasis of theirs in the offseason was to get tougher and to get more skilled on both lines, the offensive and defensive lines. They have a supreme challenge now in the Saints coming to town to test those two aspects of their team. Can they protect Matt Ryan? With the installment of Jake Matthews at left tackle, Lamar Holmes continuing his development at right tackle, can they provide a stable enough pocket for Matt Ryan to be able to take advantage of his weapons? And with Cam Jordan and the other pass rushers of the Saints coming to town, it could be a legitimate concern here for the Falcons. The Saints very under the radar in the top 5 of the league in sacks last year. And on the flip side, another huge problem for the Falcons was getting after the opposing team's quarterback. And when you have Drew Brees coming in there, if you're not able to put any pressure on him, if you're not able to get in his face and disrupt his rhythm, this Saints offense, which is heavily predicated on rhythm, playing indoors, will eat them alive. So look for that. How good is that Saints running game? We saw it in the playoffs, much improved, more physical. I think that's something that's going to set the Saints apart this year and why I think they're the most likely team in the NFC to take a leap. And that's why I think they're in my top 5 teams in the NFL, because they showed that ability to get tough when they needed to in the playoffs, something the Falcons weren't able to do. When they had that run where they were in the playoffs every year, they were never able to change that image and get tough when they needed to. I like that the Saints have done that. I think the Falcons should look at the Saints as sort of a blueprint in that respect. But right now, a supreme test on, has our offensive line gotten tougher, and can we get after the quarterback in an improved fashion in 2014. So I think this is a bigger game, certainly for the Falcons here, to sort of prove that they're back. And last year was a mulligan, if you will. But when you have Drew Brees in that offense with Jimmy Graham, with now new receiver Kenny Stills, Marcus Colston, old reliable there. When you have all those weapons, you have a 3-headed monster at running back with Kyrie Robinson, Pierre Thomas, and of course Mark Ingram. Is that too much? The question is, for that Falcons defense to handle. I don't see where the Falcons have gotten tremendously better anywhere else but the interior of the defensive line. And not from a pass rushing standpoint, but just from a sheer maybe stopping the run and being tougher standpoint. With that said, I don't know how much that helps them in this game, because when I look at the likes of, let's say, a Jimmy Graham, who's a matchup problem for everyone, I think he's specifically a huge matchup problem for a team like the Falcons. And I think the Saints are going to want to go in there on the road, prove they're one of the top 5 teams in football. Although I don't think the Falcons are going to be, anemic again like they were last year. That improved Saints secondary, I think, will get tested, because Matt Ryan, although he was up and down last year, did put up pretty good passing stats. So we'll see Jarris Byrd and Kenny Vaccaro, and Keenan Lewis be tested. But I think in the end, that Saints pass rush and the Saints passing game will be too much for the Falcons to handle. I like the Saints -3 in this game on the road. I know it's a home opener. I know it's a divisional rivalry game. Sometimes it's tough picking the road team in this case, but that's how good I think the Saints are this year. So the Saints -3 on the heels of a strong passing game and a pass rush that I don't think the Atlanta offensive line will be able to contain. Guys, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well. Be sure to subscribe. Preview every game every week, and always bringing you analysis takes as well around the NFL. Thanks as always for listening. Have a great night.